Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, my people. My name is Alan Palmer, St. Vincent the Grenadines' favorite and most hated son, the Diaspora Machismo. I am coming to you on Wednesday. Today is the 30th of June 2021, and I am happy to report that thus far there have not been any June gloom. No June gloom. The prayer of the righteous man availeth much. Always remember that. The enemies would want to tell you that you must just pray. But it's not about praying, it's not about asking. When you live the life, when you are faithful to the Most High, and you pray, it avails much. When you're wicked or don't care, it don't avail anything to pray. So the prayer of the righteous man availeth much. That is why there have not been any June gloom in California this year, because of my prayer. And that is why the rain will never fall on this soil until I get justice in this place. Right? People, today we are going to talk about, we are going to speak on the topic. Today, we are going to speak about the Most High and all of the things that are pertaining to the Most High. Today, I'm going to speak about it on the topic. Do you have the authority to win? Do you have the authority to win? While I talk here, I am inviting some people, so I'm going to sing this song that I share with you. I think it's last Saturday. Song that I wrote last week. Yeah. The effectual fervent prayer of the righteous availeth much, but the prayers of the wicked will never reach Yah's throne. The Most High He honors the life of His faithful son. So when Yahweh said, peace be still, the wind and the waves obeyed. So blessed is the man who is faithful, blessed is the man who is righteous, blessed is the man who calls on the name of the Lord. So blessed is the man who is holy, blessed is the man who loves justice, blessed is the man who makes the Most High his God. So blessed is the man who is faithful, blessed is the man who is righteous, blessed is the man who call on the name of the Most High God. Blessed is the man who is holy, blessed is the man who loves justice, blessed is the man who call on the name of the Lord. People, I have just invited a few people to come and watch this video. I hope I invited the people who will want to take a look at this video. But today I am dedicating this message to the young men, the young women, and the not so young men and women who are part of the group in St. Vincent the Grenadines called Rise Haruna. And the question that I want to ask you all, do you have the authority to win? This is the topic for today. Do you have the authority to win? Okay, do you have the authority to win? This is the topic for today, and I hope that you will hang in with me. I know it's not social issues, it's not political issues, but this is even more important than the social and political issues. Now, before we start, we are going to read for our scriptures Matthew chapter 23, and we're going to read, I think it's 13. Woe unto you, scribe, Pharisees, hypocrite. Most High, as I'm about to come to speak to your people, I ask Most High that you will put only the words in my mouth that you put it upon my heart, so that I can speak to the young men and women, particularly in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, and the not so young, who are standing up for the rights of those who are unable to stand, those who are too afraid to stand. Father, may the words of my mouth be an inspiration and encouragement to these young people in Yahweh's name. People, the question I want to ask the bunch of young people and the not so young people who are a part of the social political activist group in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, do you have the authority to win? Do you have the authority to win? This is the question that we fail to answer when we are involved in battle of any sort. Do you have the authority to win? Not do you have the training, not do you have the skills, not do you have the technique, but do you have the authority to win? Hi, Holy Love. My mother died when I was 7 years old. And one of the lessons that my mother taught me, she says, Pearson, this was my name that my family called me. She said, Pearson, always remember to pray and to be faithful to God. Because everything that you go through in life, the battle must first be fought and won or lose in the spiritual. Then she explained to me that before something bad happened to me, right, my angels would have fought against the angels of the enemies. And whether that bad thing happened to me or not is whether or not my faithfulness empowered the angels that protects me, and would they make it easy for them to overcome the angels of the evil one. If my angels are unable to overcome the angels of the evil one, then the bad things is going to happen. But when my angels, through my faithfulness, is given the strength and the command and the instructions by the Father to fight to the death on my behalf, all of the bad things that were slated to happen to me will pass me. They will pass and they will not affect me. These were one of the main counsel of my dying mother that she gave to me before she died. If we go to 1 Samuel chapter 17, in the book of 1 Samuel chapter 17, we have the very popular story of David and Goliath. Let me lay the groundwork for you for this story. Let me paint the picture for you. In this story, the Israelites, which is the Most High chosen people, were confronted by the Philistines, the enemies of the Israelites. The Philistines leave their territory and they come into the Israelites' land, particularly in the area of Judah, and they set up to do war against the Israelites. The Israelites was on one mountain. The Philistine was on one mountain. They were ready to fight. But the Philistine realized that there's a possibility that the Israelites, with their God, will be able to defeat me, so they changed the plan. They had a giant, big, strong, and powerful by the name of Goliath. And they sent Goliath to make a challenge to the Philistine. The challenge was, if you have a man in your midst who can fight with me, who can defeat me, and who can kill me, then we will be your slaves. But if I win, you are going to be our slave. He defied the army of the living God. The size of Goliath, the height and the width, his armor, his sword, his shield, his spears, his cloak of nail was so intimidating that not even the most valiant Israelites was willing to risk a one-on-one with Goliath. But the question we have to ask, do you have the authority to win against the Goliath that comes up against you? Do you have the authority to win? Listen, Goliath was an unbeatable champion. He was not only big and massive, he was skilled in the art of warfare. He was skilled in the art of warfare. He have never lost a battle. It is said that Goliath was 6 cubits and a span in size. That means he was extremely large, and there was no ordinary man who could have compared with the size and the strength of Goliath. He had a bronze helmet on his head, so that bronze helmet would reflect the sunlight. He had a coat of nail, a bronze armor on his legs, a staff, he had a javelin, and the staff of his spear was like a waver beam. The iron head of his spear weighed 600 shekels. And he had a shield that was so big and heavy that the Philistine had to assign a man just to take around Goliath's shield, because it was too big, it was too heavy for him to walk with it unless he's going to fight. It would wear him out. So the very looks of Goliath in his natural state, he was totally intimidating. When he put on his armor of war, it was even more intimidating. So not even the most valiant Israelites dare to go out there and challenge Goliath. They were all afraid. So the question is, do you have the authority to win? But there was a little teenager. His name was David, the one who was anointed king over Israel in Saul's place. Let me give you David's stats. David was too young to participate in war. He was not trained in the art of warfare. He did not have any weapons of war. He was not trained in the use of the weapons of war. He was not big enough to fight with Goliath. He was not strong enough to match Goliath's strength. And he was not fast enough, because if Goliath threw that javelin at David, he may not be able to escape the speed and the might with which that javelin will be traveled in with. But the question is, did David have the authority? Did David, the teenager, had the authority, untrained, ill-equipped, and outmatched to fight against the mighty warrior Goliath of God? You have to remember, people, when you allow the Most High to use you, you may not be equipped to fight against your enemies, but the Most High will give you the authority to win, and He will make it possible for you to defeat your greatest enemies. Remember that. The end of the story is known. David went into battle without any defenses, with a sling and a stone, and he destroyed the mighty giant, the mighty warrior Goliath, and he caused him to be beheaded. There are many lessons we have to learn from the story of David and Goliath. And another lesson that we ought to learn is that we ought to be careful that our enemies do not lure us into fighting a battle where they are much stronger than we are. We have to be careful that we do not allow our enemies to lure us into a fight that caters for their strengths and cater for our weakness. Because here we see here, the Israelites was on one mountain. The Philistines was on another mountain. And they were supposed to fight armies against army. The Most High was with them. But here we see the Philistine changed the engagement of war to a one-on-one. They send out their biggest, their strongest, and their baddest man. They knew that pound for pound, skill for skill, there is no Israelite who is able to take on Goliath and win. None in the entire nation of Israel was able to take on Goliath and win. And the Philistine knew that. That is why they changed the means of engagement. That is why they changed the means of engagement. Because the Israelites had an opportunity to win if they were fighting army against army, because no matter how big and how strong and how powerful and how skilled Goliath is, Goliath could only fight against one man at a time. He only has 2 eyes. He only has 2 arms and 2 legs. He can only focus on one assailant at a time. But in a war with Goliath's size, you could find 4 Israelites attacking Goliath safely. But the Israelites did not think. They became intimidated. If the Israelites fought army to army, they would not have found themselves in this situation. But they play into the hands of the Philistine. And in doing so, they find themselves in a situation, fighting a battle. They were unable to win. So the second thing we have to learn, don't make our enemies change the rules of engagement, because they're going to put rules of engagement that you are weak in and they are strong in, and they are going to use it to ensure that you lose, to ensure that you are defeated. And that is what this Philistine did. But the Most High always have a champion in reserve. A champion who will come out and fight against all odds and defeat the greatest enemy of the Most High. He always have a champion. Is that champion you? Is that champion you? The topic. Do you have the authority to win? So here we see, in a war, armies against army, Goliath is one man. He could only fight against one man at a time, but because of his size, it would be possible and safe for 4 Israelites to attack and destroy Goliath in an army-to-army fight. And it would have been fair, it would have been legal, and they would have destroyed Goliath. But the Philistine outsmart the Israelites, and they call for a 1 against 1 in a situation where the Israelites would never win. Be careful not to make your enemies change the rules of engagement in the battle that you're fighting, in the war that you're fighting, and put you on the defensive when you are on the offensive. Now you will have people from all walks of life coming out of the woodwork, and they will want to discourage you. We are a Christian nation. We are not supposed to be indulging in these things. But when the government of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, when they were oppressing the poor masses, where were they? When Michel Andrews needed a champion like David, where were they? When Bigger Biggs needed a champion like David, where were they? When Margaret Parson needed someone to stand up for her, where were they? They would tell you, watch how you speak about and to the Prime Minister. Respect his office. But let us go to Matthew 23. And let us hear what Yahawashah, aka Jesus Christ, had to say to the religious elders and leaders in Israel. This is what he says. Woe unto you, scribe, Pharisee. That's what the title. Hypocrites. He called them hypocrites. The worst thing a person could call you is a hypocrite. What is a hypocrite? A hypocrite is a dishonest person. You cannot trust him. He lacks integrity. He cannot be trusted. And he practices in deception. He practices his lack of integrity, his dishonesty, and his untrustworthiness under the cloak of friendship and trust. So a hypocrite is the worst thing a person can call you. A hypocrite is the worst title anyone can give unto you. But wait. There is a word that preachers and pastors and teachers never take time out to explain, to qualify what Yahawashah, aka Jesus Christ, was saying. He said, woe unto you. Woe unto you. What is woe? When Yahawashah, Jesus Christ, says woe, what did he mean? Let us go to Revelation 9:12. And it says, the first woe have passed. Behold, cometh two more woe. So what is Revelation calling woe here? Revelation 9:1 says, the angel blew the trumpet, and a star fell from heaven, and to him was given the keys of the bottomless pit. And the star opened the bottomless pit, and smoke came out that blocked out the sun in a similar manner, but more terrifying manner than what happened just 2 months ago in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, when the La Soufrière erupted. Men who consider themselves brave and valiant, when the volcano erupted and the ash covered the sky and broke over the sun, men, strong, big, valiant men, run for fear. And this was even more terrible. Not only that, out of the clouds came locusts with the power of scorpion to sting. These locusts look like horses, that they were big, they can fly. They had the stinger of a scorpion. They had hair of a woman, and they had crown upon their heads. And these locusts were stinging men who failed to honor the Most High with a deadly poison. And these men were crying for death, but death will not come. So when Jesus Christ said war, Jesus Christ was saying that you must be put, you scribe and Pharisees, you hypocrite, you must be put in a situation where you will suffer, call for death, and death must evade you, and you must endure your suffering. So when they tell you, be respectful, don't call him that. Jesus Christ understand and understood the character of the people he was dealing with. And this was what Yahawashah says should happen to them. They were scribes and they were Pharisees. He called them out of their name. He called them by their titles, and he called them out of their names. So when these people come around and try to tell you, you must act with decency and order, Jesus Christ, Yahushua, aka Jesus Christ, was acting in decency and in order when he called the scribe and the Pharisees hypocrite, and when he wished a war upon them. So don't let no one tell you anything. You be prayed up. Stand firm in the Most High. And when you go out there, the Most High will give you the spirit and the truth, and he will show you what to do, when to do it, and how to do it. You understand? And if anyone try to intimidate you, if anyone try to intimidate you and try to make you afraid, let us turn to Matthew 21:12. Jesus went into the temple and he saw the money changers there. And Matthew 21 says that he turned over the table of the money changers, of the businessmen who wanted the status quo to stay as it is, of the members of the Christian Council who wants the status quo to stay as it is because they are benefiting in one way or the other. He turned over their table and he chased them out. But let us take this from St. John. Let us hear what John had to say. John chapter 2 verse 15. And we read on to 17. And when he have made a scourge of small cord, he drive them out of the temple, their sheep and their ox, and he pour out their monies and turn over their table. So what John is saying here, John is telling the same story, but he's giving you some information that Matthew left out. Yahushua, who we call Jesus Christ, did not just go into the temple. When he saw what was happening, he prepared himself a weapon. He prepared himself a weapon. And he used that weapon in throwing blows in those people's backside to get them out of his father's house. But listen to this. Listen to the compassion. Those, he threw their monies on the ground. These are big, healthy, strong men. There's always a saying, don't get between a man and his living. In order for you to get between many men and their living, you have to have the authority to win. You have to have the authority to win. Not only that, let us go down to 16. And those who were selling dove, that means the poor traders, the people who were there, because if they are not there, they wouldn't eat. The poor and the lowly, they were selling dove. They'll go into the field, they'll catch it up because they can't afford to have a farm with oxen and sheep and goats. So they'll go into the field, they will catch the dove, and they will go and they will sell it at the temple. The poor, satisfying the needs of the poor. This is what Jesus said. And to those who sold dove, he said to them, take up your stuff and leave, and don't make the Most High house a house of merchandise. Those poor people, he speaks to them kindly and gently, and he gives them the opportunity to save their business so that they could now conduct their business outside of the temple gate, but not in the temple. But the big shots who are benefiting, who are making a lot of money, he turned over their table and he chased them out. He beat them and he chased them out. People, the question is, Do you have the authority to win? To the young people in the group, Rise Haruna, do you have the authority to win? It does not matter how intelligent you are. It does not matter how eloquent you are. It does not matter how courageous you are. It does not matter what the loss is. You will lose if the Most High did not give you the authority to win. And because you are an Israelite, and because you are standing up for that which is true, that which is honest, that which is just, and that which is holy, the Most High is ready, willing, and able to bestow upon you the authority to win. Don't get involved with the party thing. Don't get involved as the movement group in the big music that dishonor the Most High. Because when you start dishonoring the Most High is going to give your enemies the authority over you. You'll be back where you started. Do you have the authority to win? You have not because you ask not. Ask and it shall be given to you. People, you don't have to come in a group. Anytime you're going out to protest, anytime you're going to take an action that is a holy action, pray before you take it. The Most High will send His Spirit and His angels, battalions of angels. So when they try to use the police against you, you'll be able to stand firm and know that the Most High is protecting you. Let me give you a story. One day I was at Union Station in California, Los Angeles, California. The pandemic was on. I was trying to get from one end to the other end to take a train. And the lady who was there, security, a black security lady, she let through white people. And when I was going, she's demanding that I cannot pass unless I show her my top card. That's the card they used for the train. I'm not showing you. You didn't ask those people to show you the top card. Why are you asking me? And we were there, and I called her a slave, and she almost cried. She called her boss. Her boss called the police. About 8 police came. 8 or 12 or so. A whole set of police came, surround me. Tell me I must leave now, or they'll put me in. I said, you can't put me in handcuff. You cannot put me in handcuff. And you don't come and try to bully me. I will speak my piece, and I will speak my piece in a manner that is convenient to me getting my message across. And I stood there, and I say my piece. And then I decide to walk another way to go to the train station, to go to the train I wanted to catch. So when I turned off and I was walking away, the Most High said to me, he said, Alan, the Most High said to me, Alan, turn around and look behind you. Behind me, there were 12 police officers in a circumference walking behind me, each of them 10 feet away from me. And the Most High said, and they were in order, like if they were marching, like if they were drilling and they were staying in order. Most High said, don't worry. Between you and them is a battalion of angels. None of them could come within 10 feet of you. They have to stay at there, not because they want to, but because they are made to by those who are there. Those who are with you are always more than those who are against you when you are standing with the Most High. It was their intent to shoot me down. But that's another story for another time. All I'm saying, once you are standing with the Most High, once you are faithful and obedient to the Most High, no matter what I bring, they will go back to whence they came, with their tails between their legs. Because this is not your war. This is not your battle. This is a battle for Haruna. We were not called home of the blessed for nothing. This is the battle for the home for which the Most High blessed people live. People, you don't understand who you are. You are Garifuna and Kalinago. An African, not African but Israelites. The Kalinago. Our Carib brothers and sisters with the golden skin, nice smooth long hair. They are Israelites. Their foreparents leave Israel and came over to America to avoid the destruction of Israel. They later migrated and come down to the Isles, and they landed in St. Vincent and Dominica and other Caribbean countries because it was convenient for them to leave their tribes and to form their own existence. Nobody will tell you this, but this is the truth. The Africans, the so-called Africans that they brought to the New World, all of those Africans were Israelites. Israelites who have been constantly running away to Africa to avoid capture. Because when you are faithful to your Most High, when there's a conquest, His faithful children will be given away out. They will not be made to go through. Only the selected few will go there as instrument, as guidance for the Most High people. So when Babylon conquered Israel, when the Medes conquered Israel, when the Persians conquered Israel, when Greece conquered Israel, when Rome conquered Israel, they all ran away. And in the 14th century, the haters of the Israelites went and gathered our foreparents from where they were living after they have run away centuries earlier, and they bring them over to the New World. So what happens? The Garifuna and the Israelite that came over on the slave ship, when the Kalinago and the Israelites, there were two nations of Israelites coming together to make the Garifuna, of most of whom you are, of whom I am. We are people of strength. We are people who are fearless for over 300 years. When every nation in the world were under colonial slavery, the St. Vincent and the Grenadines indigenous people, the Kalinago and the Garifuna, never saw slavery. We experienced 40 years of slavery. 40 years of slavery before the abolition of slavery. So the Most High have St. Vincent there for a purpose. That is why the Caucasians are trying to destroy our people through rape and homosexuality and oppression. He wants you to be afraid. Fear them not, for they who are with us are more than they who are with them. You are surrounded by armies of the Most High who are going to instruct you and tell you what to do and when to do it, but only if you are faithful. Let me tell you something. When Israel was not faithful, the Most High allowed our foreparents to be put in the belly of slave vessels. They die by the thousand on each trip. The Most High is not obligated to keep you safe when you are not faithful. The Most High is not obligated to you in any way. He is your creator. He gives you life. He promised to protect and care for you and provide for you, but only when you are faithful. So people, don't think that it is your battle, it is your group. It is the Most High who is moving, because nothing happens. Look, for almost 2,000 plus years, our people were in bondage. For almost 2,000 plus years, the Caucasians kept many secrets about themselves, about their behaviors, about the history of our people and their people. And look, almost 2,700 years later, the Most High have revealed a lot of these things to me, not to anyone else, but to me. Some of these things cannot be spoken about now, because the time is not right. But it's not up to me to prepare the opportunity. That is the Most High responsibility. I only go where He tell me to go. I only do what He tell me to do, and I only say what He tell me to say. The Most High brought me to California for a purpose, so that I can learn the ins and outs and the behaviors of these wicked people. And I've been learning, and I'm still continuing to learn. People, the question we must ask here, do you have the authority to win? O great supreme and sovereign Most High, as I come to you, ending this little message, Father, if I said anything here that don't make sense or lend confusion to anyone who is listening, Most High, let your Holy Spirit bring clarity to their minds, bring understanding to their hearts, and give them the will to live as you would want them to live. People, go remembering that you are Israelites. You are chosen of the Most High. Go out there, represent the Father in whatever you do and whatever you say. Be your best, put your best forward, because He gave you the authority to win and to be good at anything you put your hands to. Until I see you tomorrow, where we'll deal with some social issues. This is Alan Palmer, St. Vincent and the Grenadines' favorite and most hated son, saying, we'll talk to you soon.